There are reports that Tatsuya Imai is being pursued by the Chicago White Sox. And I'm honestly excited, nervous, and terrified. Let's talk about it on the CHGO White Sox podcast. CHGO White Sox podcast coming to you live from Studio West in our West Loop offices here in downtown Chicago. I still have no idea how to say that opening. Studio West in the CHGO studios in the West Loop of downtown Chicago. Sure, something like that. Welcome in. I'm your host, Sean Anderson, being produced today by Sarah.
If you guys haven't already noticed, in the upper left corner of your screen is our CHGO Race to 100K, and we are currently at 99,811 subscribers.
We've been live for about 5 hours at this point.
We've been alive for what feels like 5 days.
Yes, 5 days. Thankfully, there's another holiday coming up, so we'll be able to escape again. But yes, if you do want to release all of CHGO from our hell, jokingly hell, please subscribe to the CHGO Sports YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed, or if you have subscribed, tell a friend to subscribe. We need, again, less than 200 people to leave and go home.
And fun fact of the day, less than 1% of YouTube studio owners, so YouTube creators, are part of that 100K club.
And look at D Felds. DFelds01, name I haven't seen in the chat often, has just become a member. So not only are we gaining subscribers, we're gaining members. Thank you very much to DFelds. He can use the fun emojis. I love the wacky inflatable arm tube guy for the Hawks.
Noodle
we
man,
need a noodle guy for the Sox.
That we do. But now DFields01 has access to all of our exclusive content and exclusive stickers.
And look at that, Big Hurt 35 subscribed.
Hey,
so we're heading on up. We're at 814 right now, so we got to update the graphic. So thank you, Frank Thomas, for subscribing. And Frank Thomas has his head on right. We've signed Murakami. We're in the news and reports for Tatsuya Imai. So let's just go get Kyle Tucker next. If everyone else is down on Kyle Tucker, why not us, man? At this point, that's really what it's turning into. All right, let's jump into the true news of the day. Something that has been absolutely surprising, has come out of left field. I did not expect them to be in on Murakami. I wanted them to be in on Murakami, and I'm thrilled with the signing. But I did not expect them to be in on Tatsuya Imai. And Tatsuya Imai, 27-year-old, going to turn 28, I believe, March 9th. I don't know if he's an ace in the way Yoshinobu Yamamoto was, but he's very interesting. I would say akin to Kota Sengai. Sengai was projected 5 years, $75 million. Right now, Imai was at least projected before the offseason for 4 years, $64 million. So I would say he's more on a an Imanaga or a Senga level rather than Yoshinobu Yamamoto. However, this is from Yahoo News Japan, who said and reported that the White Sox were scouting over in Japan. I believe they linked them directly to Okamoto, but we have not seen his market play out just yet. There was no real attachment to Munetaka Murakami until like 3 days before they signed him, which is kind of like this Imai deal. Imai is approaching his deadline. That is on January 2nd. I don't know the time, but I think it's around 4 p.m., 5 p.m. It seems like he might make his decision sooner rather than later. I don't know if that's necessarily true, but at least reading tea leaves, I think, tomorrow would be Wednesday. The first would be on Thursday. He has to make a decision by Friday. I would assume that it's either Thursday or Friday. Murakami did sign a day early. We will just have to see how it played out, but Yahoo Japan writing, with the negotiation deadline fast approaching, the Imai race has become chaotic. Since the official application, the focus has been on well-funded powerhouses like the Yankees, Phillies, Mets, and Cubs, all of which consistently aim for the postseason. Meanwhile, according to multiple sources, it has become clear that the White Sox, seeking to revive their legacy as a veteran team, are among the leading contenders. Very, very surprising that they have been this potent in the Japanese market. I haven't really, I think, stated enough how out of left field this is. Chris Getz talked about rebuilding the underbelly, and that's what I talked about during the terrible year of 2024, was that you're not seeing a ton of money be spent on the team because they're doing a lot behind the scenes. And I am surprised at how much work apparently has gone on behind the scenes, because I didn't think they'd be players in the Japanese market at all. And not only were they players by signing, any player. I was fine if it was Song, who I believe signed with the Padres. I would have been fine if it's Okamoto. But they go out and get the big fish in Munetaka Murakam. The second big fish would be Tatsuya Imai. If they go out and get these two players, this is not just, these were good deals in a way. I think that is a lot that has to deal with this. I think it's mainly just trying to announce yourself to the baseball world. The White Sox have had 3 Japanese players in their entire franchise history. We know and love 2 of them in Shingo Takatsu and Tadahito Iguchi. Kosuke Fukudome was not here for a long time, short time, but not a long time. It's just surprising that they have made such an advancement, and it does feel like maybe we're not here yet, but Chris Getz has consistently said that the White Sox are being noticed. At least that's what he was saying at the GM meetings. And I feel like the winter meetings, the more and more that you're in these conversations, you have a seat at the table, and you're actually able to cash in sometimes when you have seats at the table. I think that Chris Getz has definitely turned heads. He's turned heads in Chicago, and even the fact that the Sox are in this discussion is extremely, extremely exciting. Again, January 2nd at 5 p.m. Eastern time is the deadline. The thing, too, that sticks out mainly is Murakami's deal. Seems like obviously he wants a long-term deal. You saw Senga get 5 years. Yamamoto at 25 got 10 years. It feels like what Boris is expecting from the Cubs, Phillies, Mets, or Yankees is a 4 to 6 year deal. It doesn't feel like that's coming to fruition. It doesn't feel like teams want to take on long-term deals. And somehow, some way, I think mainly because of the opportunity that the White Sox provide, the less stress, the low expectations, it's easier when maybe a similarly priced deal is presented to yourself, and it's like, yeah, competing with the Yankees sounds fantastic for sure, but do I want to be thrown into the deepest water possible with the highest of expectations in a brand new country while I am trying to assimilate to a brand new culture and learn 26 new teammates? Or would I rather take that baby bite, those, pre-swimming lessons, rather than being thrown into the ocean, and just try to pitch in a very low-stake effort, but still at a high league at Major League Baseball? If the Yankees and Phillies and Cubs and Mets are offering 4 years for around $64 million, that's the projection from Fangraphs, the crowdsourced projection. Let's say it's more around 4 for 60, okay? If those teams are offering around 4 for 60, if the White Sox came in and gave him 2 for 40, and maybe that second year is a player option to where if the first year is fantastic, he can get the free agent market again next year, I think that that's where the White Sox can really make their point, is you can try to make your name with the Chicago White Sox, will benefit, obviously, because of the Japanese eyes that will be brought to Imai coming over, but Imai has really nothing to lose. Imai's either going to be great in Major League Baseball or not. And I think if he's coming over, he likely thinks he's going to be great. It's sort of like what Cody Bellinger just had to do with the Cubs, and all that wasn't so fruitful. It's maybe closer to what Alex Bregman is trying to do, signing this 1 year, $40 million deal to then hit the free agent market to then try to get that long-term deal. I think that is what it seems like is playing out for Imai. Ryan brings up, I can see the contract being a 3-year deal with an opt-out. I think there is some rumor out there. I haven't been able to confirm it, that there was a 3-year deal, or 3-year deal is the expectation. I don't understand why teams would be so afraid of that, especially when he would be pushing around 30 to 31 near the end of that contract. So I think that it's mainly about the White Sox providing an easy in and out at a really digestible AAV level. Again, we are closing in on 100,000 subscribers. I hear cheers from Studio A. We're at 99,831. If you are hanging out with us, hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you're subscribing to the CHGO Sports YouTube channel. If you do have any thoughts, make sure that you share them in the chat. Sarah, where are we time-wise? About 10 minutes in?
Yeah, we are about 10 minutes and 55 seconds in.
I want to get first to what Ryan says there. Fukudomi spent more time in bars in Wrigley than with the White Sox. I'm not an insider. I don't know anything about what's going on with Imai. It seemed like the issue specifically with Murakami was the swing and miss, and that seemed to be lauded heavily, that the swing and miss is the main issue with Munetaka Murakami. He may just be a Chris Carter, a Joey Gallo, and not a Pete Alonso. He might be worse than Ryan O'Hearn. With Imai, I don't know what the issue is. He's young. He pitches. He's going to be able to get you like 150 to 170 innings pitched in a year. Like, what is the true issue with him? The fastball isn't like slow. It's not 92. It's major league average, around 95. It's got an interesting low release point as well, which makes it play flatter, which makes it harder to square up. And his slider is very unique. It's a backward slider in the way that a screwball is a backwards curveball, right? You'd expect it to kind of make a curve like that, where rather than even like a gyro slider from our guy, I can't think of his name, Daisuke Matsuzaka, where it was kind of neutral, like there was no horizontal movement. You'd expect it to go, away from a right-handed hitter. This one kind of breaks in. There is negative horizontal break, sort of similar to like a sinker. So there isn't really an issue with the pitch shapes. The rumor, and I cannot confirm this because I'm not an insider. Don't take this as like true sourcing. It's probably even irresponsible for me to share. But the rumor is that Imai, as Ryan said with Fukudome, spent more time in the bars in Wrigley than with the White Sox. Apparently there's some drinking thing. Is that not every baseball player ever? Like, Shingo Takatsu just had a recent quote where he said 5 minutes after the game ended about Ozzie Guillen. Takatsu said that Ozzie Guillen is one of the managers who had the greatest influence on him. Even after losing a game, he would quickly change his mind. 5 minutes after the game ended, he would be enjoying beer and music. He has fond memories of the White Sox. Ozzie Guillen was always enjoying a cold one. Mark Burley famously had one before he closed out Game 3 of the 2005 World Series. Even along this, too, there was some apparently issues with Ozzie in, what's it called, the Dominican and the Tiburones. Let go, Ozzie Guillen, and Fernando Vacierto, who called Jorge Uriabidi, said that Guillen had to be let go because of alcohol problems. Like, we know Ozzie. Like, he doesn't seem to have an issue. Like, I don't know Ozzie personally, but Ozzie Guillen's always showing up to his job. Ozzie Guillen never seems to be hammered on air. Like, so what? The guy enjoys alcohol when he's not working. Like, is that Imai's issue? I don't really care. That seems to be like every hillbilly right-handed throwing Lance Lynn in Major League Baseball. Like, baseball, out of all the sports, are going to be scared by drinking? Like, what is this guy's problem? I haven't been able to nail it down. Doesn't seem to be pitch shape. Doesn't seem to be durability. If it is this unsubstantiated rumor, then the White Sox should be 100% in. And if it is giving him a 3-year deal, if it is giving him a 4-year deal, I don't care. Because it seems like teams are sleeping on him. And it seems like if it's a good enough deal for the White Sox, or it sounds like a sweet enough deal for the White Sox, Chris Getz can sweet talk Jerry Reinsdorf. I want to see it happen. I am all for Tatsuya Imai. If the White Sox can make this happen, I think Chris Getz is going to gain so much goodwill in this town with the Murakami signing, with the Imai signing, because this is a team acting like a professional team. There's a different team in Chicago that doesn't spend their money at all, right? And I understand that the White Sox haven't been in good shakes in the past 3 years, but it does seem like Chris Getz is driving this front office, is driving the baseball direction for the White Sox. I don't know if that could be said for Jed Hoyer on the north side. Let's take a break here on the CHGO Sports YouTube channel. Shout out to Luke, who says he's been subscribed since 23, and I think this is the only show I watch here. Whether you're a White Sox fan, whether you're a Chicago fan, we'd appreciate you subscribing today. We are 847 subscribers, 99,847 subscribers away, or no. We are at 99,847 subscribers. We are close, to 150 subscribers away. So if you haven't subscribed, make sure you're subscribing. Hit that thumbs up button. We'll be back after our first break here on the CHGO Sports YouTube channel. I don't know. We want to let you know about our favorite dispensary in Illinois. Sunnyside Dispensary is your place to unwind this football season. Sunnyside is your home for judgment-free shopping. They have a crazy selection with over 100 different strains to choose from, with easy online ordering and in-store pickup. So if you know your way around the menu, you can get in and you can get out. If you are a beginner, you can get expert guidance from their staff. They can take you through those hundreds of strains and tell you what is the best way to imbibe if it is your first time. Wherever you are in Illinois, Sunnyside has a location for you. They have spots as far south as Champaign and as far north as South Beloit. So stop into the store nearest you for expert guidance from their staff. Head to their website, sunnyside.shop, for bright buys every day, including 50% off your first 3 online purchases. That's 50% off your first 3 online purchases. Enter promo code HICHGO at checkout to qualify. For returning customers, if you've already used your first 3 online purchases, use code CHGO50. Exclusions do apply. Sunnyside Dispensary, bright buys every day, only for 21 plus or Illinois medical card holders. We also want to let you know about our friends over at Bet365. With football season truly starting as the playoffs approach, you need to download the Bet365 app. If your team goes up 17 points, you get an instant payout on straight bets and on parlay selections. Those get marked as winners. So download the app and use code CHGO365 to take advantage of their fantastic offers. They'll have more as the playoffs start, but there is one more round of Sunday Night Football. You have Baltimore versus Pittsburgh. There's a $365,000 jackpot at stake in bonus bets. Place a $10 bet on the first touchdown scorer and get a split of $365,000 in bonus bets if your player scores the final touchdown of the game. You got one more game to take advantage of this, so go check it out with the Bet365 app. Sign up using code CHGO365. Make your first bet of $5, and whether it wins or loses, you get $150 in bonus bets. Bonus bets can be used on spreads, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 plus. If you or somebody you know has a gambling problem, crisis counseling and referral services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER in-app only. Welcome back to the CHGO White Sox podcast. Hit that thumbs up button and make sure you're subscribing to the CHGO Sports YouTube channel. As you can see in the top left, we are 151 subscribers away from 100,000 subscribers. If you subscribe, we can go home. It's really what it's all about today. We want to go home in a normal way. I want to watch The Floor with my wife.
I will say
you watch
this.
The Floor?
I don't know what that is.
It's a great, terrible show. It's
Okay.
a terrible game show that is made for, it's like Baby Einsteins.
Okay.
For adults. It's
I
terrible.
will say this. And I kind of wanted to talk about it on our actual CHGO Race to 100K, but I'll talk about it here since we'll bring it up. Real quick, I have never seen in the flesh a play button before, a YouTube play button.
Right?
And I literally used to watch YouTube when I was like 10 years old, and I'd see all the OGs doing it, like Jenna Marble, Smosh, like that's who I watch. And they always had the play buttons, and never in my life, fast forward then 15, 16 years later, would I see one or touch one in the flesh.
I know.
So it's pretty cool.
Isn't it super cool? Like
Yeah.
literally, I've been watching YouTube for 15 years.
It's like really weird.
I used to have a true rhythm when I would get home from school. I'd get home around like 3 p.m.
Oh, yeah.
And for about 3 hours until my mom got home, I would watch like my programming,
Like,
my
you know,
daily programming.
Did you watch Good Mythical Morning?
I didn't watch them, but
They
like,
still do like
yeah.
a phenomenal job.
like I've definitely seen their
Yeah.
stuff before.
They have like a legit production team and everything now.
you know, Philip DeFranco.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know them.
I used to watch him a ton.
Yeah,
my
yeah.
cousin now works for him.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
it's super weird.
Crazy.
Yeah, no, it's like it's and now we're approaching this like.
And we're going to get one.
We're gonna be able to touch a play button.
I
It's
know.
so cool. Ryan asks, who's the first to drop the play button when holding it? I don't think we're gonna be able to touch it. Maybe we'll be able to
It's either going to be Braggs or I don't know.
I think it'd be hilarious if Jake did it.
Oh,
right?
Because it's
so
he's
so lovable. He's done so much for the company, and then
that would break my heart.
That'd be funny.
Let's not put that in
the
air.
It's like Lucy pulling the football on Charlie Brown. But David Spadoni asking a very important question, and I'll get to Ryan's comment in a second because I think it's important that I talk about it. But David Spadoni asking in the chat, what's the Sox doing all of a sudden? Thank you, David, for that question. They're acting like a real team, and it really started when Jerry Reinsdorf made the decision to make Chris Getz the general manager. And I don't know if Chris has spoken up or if Chris did speak up, and that's what led to a change with Rick Hahn and Kenny Williams being ousted. I don't know if it's Rick and Ken of their own doing. Ken stepping over Rick to trade Jake Berger to Miami. Like, was that the final nail in the coffin? Whatever it was, Chris Getz was ready for this moment. Chris Getz did his due diligence understanding what was wrong with this team, and he is truly trying to fill in the gaps of what the White Sox were missing as a Major League Baseball organization. They focused strictly their international scouting on Cuba and Cuba alone, and they weren't really able to pull any gems out of the Dominican Republic, out of Puerto Rico, out to Venezuela. It was mainly, they have Lenin Sosa, but it's mainly Cuba. They are trying and are in the process of building their Dominican complex, and I think it's going to be built in 2030. And they've already signed a player. I forget this. He's got some crazy alliterative name to their 2030 deal. He's like 16 years old, but it's about the message that, hey, this is the White Sox doing this. A thing that we have not done before. Like, this is what they should have been doing 10 years ago, and the White Sox have just been so behind the time. So it does feel like a breath of fresh air, but this is just picking up slack. So in a way, Chris Getz had an easy job because there was such a blueprint out there in Major League Baseball to lead this team to moderate success. And now they're just finally, taking normal steps. Ryan asked first, will hiring Getz possibly go down as one of the biggest hires in Sox history? I don't know if he's going to have that much of a change because I don't know if the White Sox will ever win a World Series under Chris Getz. I think it just more speaks to the lack of good hires in general. This team's been around for 125 years, and they have 3 World Series wins. And before 2005, it was 88 years. This team, historically, even outside of the 40 years, Bill Veeck did a good job running a personable team, but the team was never good at baseball. Like, now there does seem to be a true want to be good at baseball, which is great for a baseball team. Anyways, Ryan also bringing up about Imai, as I brought up the drinking, quote unquote, issue. Ryan said, I heard it's more of a maturity thing with him, not fully the drinking issue. Again, I don't know about that, and I brought that up likely irresponsibly. I'm more just trying to figure out why the hell Tatsuya Imai is apparently considering signing with the Chicago White Sox. And it seems like teams are down on him. Maybe it is a maturity thing. I don't know anything about him. I read that he's married and got married in 2023 to somebody that was similar age. Like, I don't know. Like, I think part of it is like these guys really want to go try their talent at the major league level, and they're stuck in a way in NPB. Like, Shohei Ohtani was that way, and the only reason why Shohei didn't jump sooner was because Japan was going to allow him to be a two-way player. And obviously, Shohei's been able to see the success of that play out, but I think Munetaka Murakami, after he won the Triple Crown in NPB, was like, all right, what's next? I think Imai, after an ankle injury in 2022 that only allowed him to pitch 79 1/3 innings, I think after he put up a 2.45 ERA in 158 innings, 2.34 ERA in 137 or 73 innings, and then also a 1.92 ERA in 163 2/3 innings, I think he's like, let's get to the Major League Baseball part of this. And maybe it's the lockout that it's affecting the temperature of this. And I guess, hey, now it's time to take the temp with our friends over at Four Seasons. Our friends over at Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric have you covered. If you have a hot water tank emergency, if you have a plumbing emergency, if you have a heating emergency, call our friends over at 866 Four Seasons with our friends over at Four Seasons. And there you go, taking the temp with Four Seasons. I think it's truly about the fact that there's something in the water with Imai that we don't know about. And with Munetaka Murakami, it was very easily with the advanced data that you could find, it's the swing and miss and the in-zone swing and miss. But I don't know what it is with Imai. And I think a lot of the time when you're having American scouts be like, well, it's a maturity issue, I think you also have to question, like, are these American scouts, maybe they're Japanese scouts, but like, are these scouts in touch enough with Japanese people and Japanese culture? Does Imai actually have a maturity issue, or is he just annoyed playing in Nippon and he wants to be at Major League Baseball? And again, like, if he sees himself as an ace wanting 7 years and these teams are offering 3 years, maybe it's the White Sox offering 4 years. That's the real separator, that they, he gets a little bit more of an assurance. Maybe there's opt-outs in that to get him to free agency sooner. But I'm just really questioning why the hell Imai might fall to the White Sox. With Munetaka Murakami, I guess it makes sense because, first base, not a ton of defensive value. The swing and miss could be a Joey Gallo type player, but Imai seems really interesting. Trey, with the super chat, shout out to Trey. Shout out not only to Trey, shout out to Frank. We love to see cats. If you have a cat, feel free to just send pictures in of your cat. He named him after the Big Hurt 35. Trey saying, appreciate you guys. Rarely catch live. Good luck on 100K. Appreciate it. Trey also saying, what would you guys think of Pham and or a Giolito reunion? Pham, I wouldn't hate. Tommy Pham, after that Brewers situation in 2024, saying he's ready to fight anybody, I am totally willing to have that man in the locker room, because that's just a fantastic what's it called? He's a walking headline, pretty much. That man waxed poetically to Jared Willis about how bad he wanted to beat up the Milwaukee Brewers after that instance. And I was the biggest Tommy Pham fan after that. But I don't think that Pham's going to make his way back to the South Side. Wouldn't hate it if it's like Pham and Tauchman in right field, but I also would hate it because they're geriatrics. The Sox don't have a player under 32, so if they signed Pham and Tauchman, they'd have two guys over 36. Seems like the wrong direction, so I don't think Pham is going to make his way back to the South Side. I think he's honestly a Pirate again. You bring up Giolito. I talked about Giolito. I think his time in Chicago is done. I think part of the reason why his performance slipped at the end in Chicago was obviously just because his fastball got worse, but it seemed like he was dealing with personal issues. I think he'd be better than he was at the end of his career in Chicago, but just for the player alone, just for the fans alone, I don't need to see Giolito in a White Sox uniform again, struggling to find velocity with his fastball, trying to find command with his fastball, and then people just sitting on that terrible slider, people sitting on that changeup, and all the changeup is good. It can be ineffective when that fastball is not tantalizing enough. I don't really want to watch Lucas Giolito again. That experience of watching a Giolito start when he wasn't on was some of the most disturbing baseball I've seen. However, and you're fine to bring up the soft spot, Trey, as you say you have a soft spot for Lucas. My birthday, August 21st, I think it was 2021, Sox go up against the Twins in Minnesota, and that is Lucas's best start in a White Sox uniform. I think he went 9 innings, shutout ball, and had like 10 strikeouts. And when his changeup dances, there is nothing like it. Like, it is truly a very, very, very beautiful thing to watch. He just is so out of rhythm. I don't know if that's the 6'6" frame. Maybe that's something we have to worry about with Noah Schultz, but I cannot stomach watching Lucas Giolito again in the nicest way possible. I hope he has a long Major League Baseball career, and maybe if he comes back at like 36, it'd be cuter, but it's way too soon. I'd rather see Raylo. I'd rather see Chris Bassett if we're doing White Sox reunions. And also, I don't think Raylo's a free agent, but I don't think Giolito's the goods. The big thing that I want to push on Imai real quick, because he is really the main thing. Our next show won't be until after the new year. unless there is an emergency podcast that we're talking about Imai. So there's going to be a little bit of a break here before we get more of a wrap up on Imai. Now I can't find any of my. Oh, I ripped them off. They're over here. The notes I wanted to bring up about Imai, again, he's 27 years old, will be 28 on May, not March, May 9th, 1998. His release point, and this is from Lance Brzdowski, his release point is at 5 feet. The major league right-handed pitcher average is at 5 feet 8 inches, so it's lower than 96% of major league pitchers. That seems, again, incredibly unique. When you are looking for athletes, you are looking for the ones that are on the outside, the ones that can be like Lucas Giolito, where their curveball or their changeup just kind of defies the logistics of a changeup. Imai, with this lower release point, will create an extremely flat plane for hitters to try to square up. And if you can think of Brian Wu, that's a lot of the reason why Brian Wu has success in Major League Baseball, is it's an extremely hard fastball to square up. So when I hear extremely low arm angle, and Lance also guesses that it's a 20-degree arm angle, Major League average is 40 degrees, with the low release point adjusted to the height that he's throwing at, he's in the 98th percentile of vertical angle approach. So that means that even if it's not thrown ton in the zone, it should be really hard to square up. If you think to Kyle Schwarber's struggle post-Cubs, pre-Kevin Long fixing him with the Washington Nationals, he had a hard time squaring up high fastballs. Basically, even if Imai throws it in the middle of the zone, like the old Kyle Schwarber would have a really hard time squaring it up because of the flatness. You'd expect it to either have that like somewhat of a dip up and that rising fastball effect, or sometimes there's the hump, right? Imai's is just straight. And that is really unique, especially with its lower release. I brought up about the slider shape as well. It's pretty much a backward slider, as Lance described it, a wrong way slider. Imai, 86.3 miles per hour on the velocity. MLB average, 86.1. The vertical break, 2 inches. Major League average, 2 inches. So everything stays aligned there. And then the horizontal break, negative 2.4. Major League average, 5.5. So that means glove side, right? 5 plus 5.5 would be moving away from a right-handed batter to the left-handed batter's box. Negative means it's moving at the hitter. So it's like a sinker in that way, where that slider is going to move at hitters. It, again, throws off the regularity of what you expect from a pitcher. I think it's all of the reasons why the White Sox should absolutely be in on Tatsuya Imai. And if they are able to secure Imai, I'll throw up. Lance brings up the stuff models won't like a slider like this because it is backwards. It doesn't follow standard deviation. And it's not a gyro slider. Again, gyro sliders are kind of negative with their movement. You'd expect them to move some way. They don't move at all. It's more of like a screwball slider in that way. The one thing that I would think of, and I think most major league teams would think about this, is either adding a cut fastball to him, so then you have kind of 2 pitches from the same grip moving in complete different ways, or a sweeper. Typically, you have Americans going over to Japan to learn the sweeper, and that unlocking their potential because Japanese hitters are not really used to the sweeper. If Imai's able to come over here and use the sweeper and learn the sweeper, if he has 2 slider variations with one completely carrying away from the hitter, especially right-handers, and then he's got one that kind of dies like in towards the shin, I think it could be absolutely game-changing. We're going to take a break here on the CHGO White Sox podcast because we're well past the 30-minute mark, but also I got to say goodbye to Joey Spastis. Hit that thumbs up button. Make sure to subscribe to the CHGO Sports YouTube channel. We'll see you in 2 minutes. Winter is here. It is bone-chillingly cold outside. Is your home's heating up for the challenge? If not, call our friends over at 4 Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. They've been serving Chicagoland for over 50 years in the most dire of situations. If you have a plumbing emergency, call 4 Seasons. If you need a new hot water tank installed today, call 4 Seasons. If you have an electrical emergency, Call Four Seasons. Now is your time to schedule your Four Seasons furnace tune-up. And if you're thinking about a whole home generator, they have you covered. At Four Seasons, they guarantee same-day installation for all your heating, cooling, plumbing, electrical, and generator needs with no extra charges for nights, weekends, or holidays. So call today and save $50 from your trusted local experts. Four Seasons, heating, air conditioning, plumbing, and electric. Sponsored by Four Seasons, your trusted local experts for heating, air conditioning, plumbing, electric, and generators. Visit fourseasonsheatingcooling.com for all their special offers and money-saving coupons. That's fourseasonsheatingcooling.com. You can call 866-4-SEASONS. I need Dave to harmonize with me because that sounds bad with one person. We also want to let you know about our friends over at Shady Rays. Even though it is winter, you know it's extremely bright? The sun reflecting off the snow. Those gray days, even though there is, some gray in the sky, the sun behind that just makes that a little bit painstaking. You need to protect your eyes with polarized sunglasses. Look to our friends over at Shady Rays. Shady Rays has changed the game completely because not only have they made sunglasses for real life, not only are they seriously good looking, not only are they polarized, not only are they durable, but mainly they're not stupidly expensive. If you want great sunglasses, head over to Shady Rays. The wild part is if you lose or break them, even on day one, which you have done with a pair of sunglasses before, Shady Rays will send you a brand new pair. No guilt trip, just replacements. The way or the reason why I absolutely endorse these is because I had a pair for 2 years that I did not break until I truly ran them over with my car. So Shady Rays, not indestructible, but close to indestructible. They're the eyewear that has your back. Head over to shadyrays.com. Use code CHGO for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself these shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Welcome back to the CHGO White Sox podcast. If you have any thoughts, let us know about. Let them know in the chat. Wolf Larson in the chat bringing up Imai. That is the headline. That is the topic.
So I told
very on point.
It was funny when Steven came over here, our wonderful head producer, and he was like, 76 people in the chat. Like, what is that? And I was just like, because it's just like it's a whatever day. Right. But I was like, you didn't hear Imai is going to be a White Sox. And he was like, are you kidding me? And I was like, well, they're talking to him about it. So yeah, no, it's a big deal.
All right. So maybe that's the thing. Maybe we haven't gotten more subscribers because I'm speaking the wrong language. Warashitachi no yushibo channel orakuku shite kudasai. That apparently means subscribe to our YouTube channel. And I think I completely butchered that.
That was good, Sean.
Ryan, I think you speak Japanese. Was I even close? Probably not. I probably butchered the Japanese language. But hey, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're what, 125?
You're at
123 away.
123, yeah.
123 away from 100,000 subscribers. Corey Pinor saying, wait, are we spending money now? It seems like it's not, again, that they're spending money, or it's that they had an allocated budget for this when, okay, Ryan says no. I will deeply, deeply apologize for what I just said, whatever that was. He would leapfrog Smith as a number one. I don't know if they're necessarily spending money, but I do think that it's the White Sox recognizing that there is a deal to be had. A lot of people were saying the White Sox weren't spending the last couple of years. And while that was true when it comes to a payroll standpoint, the White Sox did do a lot of behind-the-scenes basic stuff, but a lot of stuff behind the scenes to improve their facilities, to improve their organization as a whole. So it wasn't that they weren't spending money. It was the fact that there was no tantalizing player to spend on in the current market. But at least with Munetaka Murakami and Imai, it seems like that they are depreciated assets currently that could have a massive boon if they come over to Major League Baseball and find success. So I think it's mostly about the fact that Chris Getz thinks that this deal or this price should be higher, and that the White Sox, as we all know, can't afford it. If Chris Getz, David Keller, etc., can do their job and convince Jerry Reinsdorf of the sell, maybe we can see them start to spend a little bit more on players. Because again, Jerry Reinsdorf is a businessman. If Chris Getz can appeal to that businessman side and say, this is a good investment, here are the business reasons, which they were able to do with Brooks Boyer and convince Jerry Reinsdorf of the marketing reasons for Munetaka Murakami, maybe things change. Again, I will not speak Japan or Japanese on the show again. Maybe we'll invite Ryan on the show to be my Japanese translator. But yes, someone is asking about the deadline. It is January 2nd at 5 p.m. Eastern. We have seen some Japanese players make their decision before the deadline. Maybe that's today. Maybe it's tomorrow. There is the new year approaching. I don't know if that's going to really affect people or not, but I would assume that you're going to see the White Sox at least probably pop up in at least one more report. I think it's either going to be they sign him or the White Sox are no longer in consideration. We're either going to not hear anything about this until he signs, or you're going to hear it get whittled down. There was one thing that was translated by Yahoo Cosmopolitan, and this is Yuri over at Yahoo Cosmo. Translated comments from Tatsuya Imai on TV Asahi program yesterday, and this is a paraphrase. I'm not really paying attention to the media reports, said Imai. Yoshida suddenly signed with the Red Sox one day. Nobody predicted Murakami's situation either. What I see for myself, think, and feel is what's important. That's all I trust. I want to personally visit each team that expressed an interest with me, but I was told that it'd be difficult if there were so many. So Mr. Boris, which is weird to see, said to narrow it down to just 3 or 4 teams before I go to the U.S. I think that's where we are in terms of teams now. When we do look at the Japan report, they threw out 4 teams in the Yankees, Mets, Cubs, and I think there was a Phillies. But they didn't say that those teams were necessarily contenders. It's just that that was the expectation that those teams might be in on it. The White Sox are the one team that was like linked as contenders. So the one thought too, and I think Corey Seacrest brought this up on the 100K live stream, maybe there's multiple cities involved. Maybe it is New York and there's 2 teams from New York. Maybe it's Chicago. There's 2 teams from Chicago and Philly. So maybe it's 3 cities, 5 teams. But it does seem like the White Sox might be one of those 3 to 4 teams, possibly 5 teams, that Amaya is at least considering. Continuing on, I'm sure these circumstances also change when teams sign free agents other than me. With that in mind, I want to make the best decision with my family in mind too. He was in Los Angeles recently and was shocked by the supermarket prices, which, hey, welcome to America. It's only getting worse. I think that a lot of this is just building up to a deflated market, and that's why the White Sox are in. I genuinely cannot tell you what's going to happen now until January 2nd. I do not know if the White Sox will sign him. I have no idea if he will be a White Sox. I am just thrilled, over the moon to be having this discussion, because when I brought up Murakami in September, it was more of, this makes logical sense. You need a first baseman, but I talked myself out of it because of the typical money reasons. They signed Murakami, though. I doubted the Murakami reports when they started trickling in. Mark Feinsand had a report that said the White Sox were contenders. I kind of laughed at it. I thought it was a seat at the table thing. They signed him. I'm taking this to heart. I think that the White Sox are absolutely one of the final teams for Imai. I won't be disappointed if they don't sign him, but I will truly be floored, shocked, and thrilled if Imai signs. I don't have the concerns that most people do. You look at his NPB K to walk percentage as well. 2021, this is K percent minus walk percent. He had a 5.6% difference in his K percentage to his walk percentage in 2021. 2022, it jumped to 11%. 2023, it steadily climbed to 12.9%. 2024, it jumped to 16.4%. And in 25, it was 20.7%. What he does greatly is command and control the zone. He will not lose guys in counts. He will try to effectively challenge guys in the zone. I am all for Tatsuya Imai. I think that his pitching arsenal is the goods. He doesn't look like, a guy with personality issues. I'm excited to learn more about him. I don't know what the red flags are with Imai. He had a single ankle injury in 2022 or something like that, where he pitched 79 in the 3rd innings. But outside of that, I really do not see the reason for the White Sox not to be in. I'm thrilled that they're in. Let's see how this plays out. If there is any development in the Tatsuya Imai White Sox sweepstakes, you need to subscribe to the CHGO Sports YouTube channel. Whether it's at 10 a.m. right as I wake up, whether it's 5 p.m. on January 2nd, we will have an emergency podcast if Tatsuya Imai signs with the White Sox. The moment you hear about it, the moment we will likely be prepping an emergency podcast. So subscribe to the CHGO Sports YouTube channel. We're obviously closing in on 100K. You can see that in the top left. We are about 115-ish away from 100K. Please, please, please call your sons, call your daughters, call your neighbors, tell them to subscribe to CHGO Sports. If we got 100 people watching right now, you could tell 100 people, and we should be able to go home by 7. So fingers crossed, we can get out of here. And yeah, Ryan, great message there. Have a fun and safe New Year's Eve and day as well. Same to you guys out there. And if there is any breaking news on Tatsuya Imai and the Chicago White Sox, we will have you covered here on CHGO Sports. I'm Sean Anderson. Thank you to Sarah for producing the show, and we will see you in 2026. Goodbye.
We all silly like the mayor.